you have been waiting for a change in the weather, the time has finally come for that to happen. We're going to see a major pattern change over the next few days, and this is the weekend outlook, but I wanted to give a lot of detail in this segment because there is so much about to happen, and I want to make sure that you're prepared for it. If you look at the radar right now, there's not a whole lot going on in our area. It's pretty much clear in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Off in the Brownwood area, there were storms earlier. If we put this into motion, you'll see that this activity bubbled up. It's not going to last much longer. The sun is going down. Daytime heating is falling away. There was a brief severe thunderstorm warning out there. Really didn't do anything. And it's really not going to do anything in our particular area tonight. Let's take a look, though, at the models, because over the next few days, we're going to see some pretty interesting things happen. Let's actually go to the NA model there. And I'm going to let this load, but I'm going to take this step by step here instead of doing the whole, the whole thing right at the beginning. So let's zoom this out a little bit here. So here you have the storms that came up today. This apparently was very over exaggerated as far as what we see tonight, unless for some reason those storms out to the west catch some more intensity tonight. It doesn't look like this is really going to become what happens. In fact, this is 6 o'clock. This is supposed to be right now. Not a whole lot happening, right? If we continue this on, continue it forward, you can see that as it approaches our area, it just goes away. It just gets squashed. And it doesn't even look like it reached the full potential of what this model was really expecting. So we may have some clouds overnight that will bring in what's left of that activity, and that's going to be that. What you'll see overnight tonight is from the south come these clouds, and this is all that Gulf moisture feeding into our area, setting up for the potential for some storms over the next couple of days. So as we get into Friday, we're going to get into the afternoon hours on Friday. This is 6 o'clock. You see this activity beginning to develop south of Wichita Falls there, and let me just preface this by saying this does not mean that storms are going to happen in that specific spot. This is an approximation by this weather model of where it thinks, in general, development will happen. So you have this west of Graham there. You also have down to the south in the Killeen area down to Austin, thinking that there will be some development there. Here's the thing. This point Friday, we're going to be watching what's called the cap. And most of you probably know what that is, but if you don't, the cap is an area of warm air aloft that it acts as a cap. It limits development of storms because they hit that cap and then they can't go any further, and it's actually sinking air, so those storms, they get an updraft, they get a little bit of lift, they hit that, they fall away, and they go away completely. So unless the cap breaks, it doesn't look like we're going to see a whole lot over our area. Now, if the cap does break, we could see more thunderstorms bubble up over our area. I think they'll be pretty widely isolated, maybe 20 to 30% of the whole North Texas area being hit by one of those storms. Not a whole lot. So let's continue this model forward, and let's get up to 1 a.m. Saturday. Again, not a whole lot happening here. More Gulf moisture, and then you notice off to the north, something is coming in. This is going to be one of the two big stories to happen, and you can see the cold front here, so it's expecting a line of clouds and possibly a little bit of rain to kind of develop here. This is 11 a.m. on Saturday, kind of before we've hit our daytime heating, right? So you can see where the cold front is expected to be, start moving into the northwest counties of the North Texas area, and then as it comes in, bam, you see this development very quickly, right around 6 o'clock. This is 6 o'clock on Saturday evening, and you can see all the way from the Arklatex area, all the way through the Dallas-Fort Worth area, all the way on towards Brownwood and Brady and San Angelo there. And I'm really expecting a fair amount of development along this boundary. As we get into the few hours there, I don't want you to get upset. If you're waiting for rain, I don't want you to get upset by the fact that there's kind of a spread here, right? You can see that there's this area of rain. There's not a whole lot happening there, right? It's just kind of a hole here from a lot of convection just outside of Killeen. Then it's empty over north of Tyler. It continues on. This doesn't mean that exactly is going to happen, okay? This is just an approximation. So any kind of development at all in our area expects there's going to be something along that cold front, most likely in our area. I do think that we'll get something out of this line when it comes through. And as you can see, by the time we get to 11 p.m., most of that has moved off to the south. You can see there's a little bit of convection, possibly some showers, thunderstorms behind that main line there. We've seen that before, right, where we have some stray showers and thunderstorms that are usually not severe. But as you see, there is a powerful line that continues on, and then possibly some more strong storms out to the northwest of Austin there. And as we carry that forward, this is 1 a.m. Sunday morning, and all of that had moved off to the east, and we could have a few lingering showers into the morning hours on Sunday. So we are possibly looking at some severe weather in our area. So I want to talk about the risk that we're facing. So here is the risk contours for this is Friday. So again, you can see that we're kind of on the border here, right? And as I've said before, if we're in any way included in the marginal risk, even if it's a part of Ellis County, I'm going to consider all of Ellis County in a marginal risk. And I've done that here, but it's so conditional on that cap that I really don't have a big potential for severe weather here. You can see off to the northwest, here's that slight risk of severe weather. It's more likely up there, and the models seem to suggest that too, with more convection up in that area. But again, unless the cap breaks and we have a change in what the general consensus is right now in the models that the cap will probably hold, then we could see some thunderstorms. And if we do see stronger storms, our primary risk is probably going to be large hail and damaging winds. Let's get into Saturday, and I think that Saturday, honestly, is going to be our better bet for showers and thunderstorms and possibly severe weather. A couple of things you notice. Number one, of course, we are well in this marginal risk of severe weather. Here's the other thing. You can see that this is kind of a wide area, right? There's a wide area all the way from almost to Graham down to Nacogdoches here of this slight risk. Usually when they do that, when you've got this kind of wide area here, they're leaving space for there probably to be a slight risk. I would say from the Arklatex probably down into the Dallas-Fort Worth area, they'll probably put a slight risk in this area. They may not. It's not my call. That's up to the Storm Prediction Center, but I would not be surprised if they kind of fill in some of this wide area with at least a slight risk, that again, I'm thinking they'll go probably from the Arklatex down to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They may go further down towards Killeen, but I think that, that's probably where they'll kind of fill that in starting sometime tomorrow. Stay tuned. I'll bring more updates on that. Let's get a little bit more specific here and talk about the kind of the risk analysis that I've shown you before. And this is where I've talked in the past about what modes of severe weather to expect. So obviously we have the marginal risk for severe weather in general, and I have a low risk of damaging wind, low risk of hail. The reason I have a low risk there is because we're looking at a low risk in general for storms. Now, if we do get storms that develop out of this, for each individual storm, it may be higher than this. But overall, generally, we're looking at a fairly low opportunity for any storms to move through. So that's why I have generally just a low risk, but I do want to at least highlight that it's damaging winds and large hail that will be our biggest threat if we do get one of the severe storms. I don't have any kind of risk for tornadoes listed. That really doesn't look to be part of the equation here. And I don't have anything for flooding because it doesn't look like any of these storms are going to bring the kind of downpours that would cause that. Now, if we talk a little bit more about Saturday, that's where things start to heat up a little bit more. I do have a moderate risk because it does look like we have a better opportunity in general to get these storms. Another marginal risk, I do expect we will probably be in a slight risk by this time tomorrow for Saturday. Stay tuned. But for right now, I just have that moderate risk. And if we go to a slight risk, this probably won't change. This is the Storm Prediction Center outlook. This is kind of my interpretation of it, right? So I think if we do get that slight risk, I'll probably keep this here. We'll have to wait and see what they say as far as a tornado risk. Right now, tornadoes really don't look to be a part of that equation. And again, flooding, it doesn't look like these storms will hang around long enough to have any kind of flood potential with them. Now, flooding is an interesting topic because that goes into our next thing to cover. So let's actually get to the forecast and talk about what we've got coming. First of all, Friday, 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms. That depends on the cap. And so we're going to be looking at the possibility of either nothing happening or a few strong to severe thunderstorms. Again, 20% coverage if the cap breaks, really probably an 80% chance overall. You won't see anything. 96 for the highs, okay? Let's get into Saturday. 93 degrees, low 90s. I think we'll hit the low 90s or at least the upper 80s before the cold front gets here. We'll have to wait and see. Sometimes it speeds up, sometimes it slows down. That will determine what our high temperature is going to be. 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms. That may go up as the forecast becomes more refined and we get more confidence. But you see that cold front here. Look at your overnight lows in the low 60s Sunday. A few showers and thunderstorms possible. That wind direction is actually incorrect there. It's saying south. Winds will be out of the north. I think I unfortunately forgot to update the winds here. So they're kind of a day off. So I apologize, and I'll kind of clear that up for you. But 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms really in the morning on Sunday. 75 degrees, mid-70s for your highs, mid-60s overnight. Monday, let's get into Monday and Tuesday. Okay, we've got a 60% chance of showers and thunderstorms through the day Monday night into Tuesday, with your highs right around 80 degrees. We have a disturbance coming in that's going to bring in a much, much better chance of rain. We could see some heavy rain. We could be looking at a bit of a flood threat with these storms. It doesn't look like we have that much of a severe weather situation. I'm watching that a little bit more. There's not been a whole lot of detail on that yet. But my concern is the fact that we could be looking at 4 to 5 inches of rain in our area. Now, I'll take all the rain I can get before we get into the dry season of summer. But overall, it looks like we're probably looking at a pretty dousing rain on Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday, temperatures 80 degrees, 30% chance of rain. We start tapering off the rain Tuesday. Could have some lingering showers on Wednesday. I'm iffy on the rain chance on Wednesday. Probably that's focused on the morning just to see if we have anything left. Thursday, highs are in the low 80s with partly cloudy skies, and everything's muddy. We're kind of trying to dry out there, and that's going to be the way things go. So overall, big changes in the forecast this week. But just keep in mind, Friday, storms possible. It depends on the cap. Saturday night, when the cold front comes through, we have a decent chance of showers and thunderstorms, some of which could be strong to severe. Everything changes Saturday night with those lows in the low 60s, highs in the mid-70s on Sunday, and we're in the 70s and 80s onward from there. Now, it's been a little bit since we've had severe weather, which is not normal for May, but I want to make sure that we cover this. Noaa All Hazards Radio, one of these right here. This is what you want to rely on if you're in a rural area for sure, where your satellite goes out at the first drop of rain. I know growing up, my satellite was terrible. Any rain, wind, anything, it was gone. You may not have the best internet service there either. And internet or cell phone service, if your internet gets knocked out with the power, you're waiting on your cell phone service. You can't go out to the ditch by the road to get the cell service, right? I know that's one situation that I've heard a lot about. You want to make sure you get one of these. They're on Amazon. Just look up the Midland Weather Radio. Really, most weather radios are going to work for you. This is just the one that I've chosen to rely on. It will wake you up. Not only if you turn on the weather radio, it actually day for day, it will actually tell you what the forecast is and just kind of give general information. It also has an alarm on it. You can set it to whatever mode of severe weather you want to, severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings, that kind of thing. It will tell you very, very loudly and very convincingly when one of those warnings has been issued. A weather app with geo-targeting. If you do one of these apps, make sure you go into the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. Look at the reviews and make sure you're not buying something that's unreliable. I believe FEMA has an app. Some of the TV stations here, I believe Fox 4 in Dallas, they have the WAP. It's just fun to say, isn't it? I believe that will give you warnings, and there are different apps out there that will give you warnings for your particular area. Local TV meteorologist, FM, AM radio as well. I would put Ellis County weather in that too, right? You want to make sure you're tuned into Ellis County weather for coverage of this area. Or if you prefer the Dallas stations, by all means, you can also listen to the radio. KRLD and WBAP in Dallas provide weather information on those channels as well. And obviously with the emergency alert system, any warnings that come through, they have to sound those as well. Outdoor warning sirens. I've said it before, I'll say it a million times. Do not rely upon those if you are inside. They're not for you. Those are outdoor warning sirens for those who are outdoors. You may not hear it in your home, and that's not a flaw. That is by design. Wireless emergency alerts. You obviously, through Ellis County Emergency Management, through that office, they have set up those text alerts that will send you a text, a phone call, or an email, or all three, when those warnings are issued for your part of Ellis County. So those are just all the opportunities that you have. You want to make sure you have it. I would say at least 3 of those set up to get those warnings because, again, when severe weather comes through, it can knock out various different sources of severe weather information. And with those flooding rains, potentially flooding rains, coming in early next week, you want to make sure that you're prepared for whatever may happen in that situation as well. We got a lot happening. You want to make sure you're prepared. So make sure you go to elliscountyweather.com to follow the latest forecast information. You can also see everything Ellis County Weather has to offer. You can also see the links to the Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram where you can follow for the latest updates there. So just keep in mind, we have storms that likely won't happen, but are still possible on Friday. Saturday night, the cold front comes in with showers and thunderstorms possible. Some could be severe. And then we get into Sunday, possible showers then as we get there. And then early next week, not only do we have those cooler temperatures, but some drenching rains coming in to start the work week. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned over the next several days. A change is going to come.